All right. I'm not really sure where the term sports specific training was invented, um, but it's really a hoax that a lot of parents fall for. Um, I like the term better athlete specific. You need to train like you're an athlete, especially in the beginning when you begin training. You don't train a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, someone who's never trained before for sport specific training. Like if they're a softball player, a baseball player, a football player, you don't do football specific training for 10-year-olds. It just makes no sense. Everything that's off the field is not specific, right? So anything besides when you're on the field playing your sport, that's specific. You're going to the field and you're taking ground balls, you're batting, you're catching fly balls, throwing, practicing blocking, cutting, running, that type of thing. Anything short of playing your actual sport is not going to be sports specific, right? So, what is becoming a better athlete all about? It's really about producing more force. That's athlete specific. So, getting stronger, producing more ground force, maybe becoming more flexible, being able to run better, being able to, like, running is universal. So yes, so some speed training, maybe running better, getting in better physical conditioning, being able to jump higher, jump further. So you're creating more force quicker. That has a good carryover to sports. You could strengthen joint angles and muscles that are used in the sport that you think you need to improve on. So, if you're a baseball player, traps are important for throwing. Triceps are important for throwing. Rotational strength is important for batting and throwing. Lateral ground force, producing force, in a wide stance. I've talked about that before. So those are the types of things that are going to help an athlete get better. But are they sport specific? No, because being strong in a wide sumo stance and producing lateral ground force is applicable to all sports, right? So it's not sport specific. You got to think more like athlete specific. On the same line, I see a lot like on Facebook. Someone will ask for recommendations for training for their young athlete, high school, middle school kid. And a lot of times I love to look at all the recommendations. Sometimes I'm tagged in them, and it's just sometimes people are clueless. Like, you don't take your 15-year-old kid that wants to become a stronger, faster football player to the place that specializes in body transformations, fat loss for people in their 50s and 60s. It just doesn't really, the culture doesn't match up, what they're doing doesn't match up, right? All these things don't match up. So you need to think like an athlete. You need to become a better overall athlete. Now, can you make your training a little bit more specific as you progress through your training years and you become, more physically mature and stuff? Yeah, sure. You could tailor your jumps to what you're doing. You could work more specific joint angles and things like that, time under tension. Your conditioning might be more specific to the sport you're playing. But for the most part, you want to really be athlete specific. You want to become a better athlete. And that's the whole goal of training. So if you hear sports specific, a lot of people use the term because I think parents love to hear sports specific. I'm going to get Johnny some wrestling specific strength training. Doesn't really exist. You get them stronger, produce more force. Things that are important in wrestling may be pulling, isometric strength, or static strength, but your general strength has to be up to par first before you become, a little bit more specific. And even when you're becoming more specific in the gym, it's still not sport specific. You're not mimicking your sport ever.